government has performed, very abysmally, very poorly. And on all fronts, the economy and security are the worst. I heard you before we started the program talking about, the situation in Borno, for instance. I'm from Borno State. In the last 3 months or thereabout, the Boko Haram insurgency has started. There has been a resurgence. The governor, Professor Babagana Omar Zulum, came out and raised alarm and called attention of, the government, the federal government, that this is what is happening. Military men are being killed. Farmers are being slaughtered on their farms. And these are facts. But what did the government do? It was a pushback. The Minister of Information came out and said that what the government was saying is not true. I mean, under that kind of situation, Sumner, how do you want, for instance, the governor of Borno, as the leader of over 6 million people, who has the responsibility to take care of the security and welfare of over 600 million people, 6 million people, yeah, to feel?
Well, and we're actually surprised with this sort of gang up, and it's just shrouded in that scenario that the person from the south is not performing. And they give clear example of Goodluck Jonathan. The gang up against Goodluck Jonathan then was that he wasn't performing so much, Boko Haram and all of that. Only for the same note, many years after, to be saying that they seem to have made a mistake with President Goodluck Jonathan.
There's no gang up. Facts are facts. Nobody is saying, President Tinubu should not have a second term, but President Tinubu should deserve to have a second term. And nobody stops, like you rightly said, anybody from challenging President Tinubu. And nobody is saying, as at yet, who should succeed President Tinubu? It could be a northerner, and it could be a southerner. So it's neither here nor there. People are very forgetful. From 1999 to maybe the end of this Tinubu's first term, that's 2027, it will be 28 years of unbroken democracy. Now, I'm here talking about, this allegation that the North wants the power back and so on and so forth, because people keep saying that, why don't you allow Tinubu to spend his 8 years? Because Buhari has done 8 years, why not Tinubu? But let me tell you this, by 2027, from 1999, we'll have spent 28 years of uninterrupted democratic governance in Nigeria. Out of the 28 years, hopefully, by 2027, when his president's first term would be ended,
would have elapsed. Yeah.
Would have elapsed. Out of the 28 years, the North had only spent 10 years in governance. Out of the 28, 8 years of Buhari and 2 years of President Yar'Adua. The remaining 18 years has been the South that is in office. So even if the North were to say we want equality or equity, as it were, given the facts, and these are facts, nobody's creating these numbers. Well, these are reality.
You know that in the conversation sometimes they also bring upwards the issues of military rule. The North had more power and all of that. And when you put all those together, the North seem to have enjoyed more power under the Nigerian state.
A military, a military person that has been there to come and tell you what military rule is all about. So what I'm saying, I'm not here to speak about that because I'm not part of them. I was never a military man.
Yeah, so nobody voted for them.
What we are saying is, under a democratic rule, where rights are given to citizens, where the principles of equity, equality, because that's the basis of all this discussion, between the different constituents, the different parts of the country, whether it's the different demographies, whether it is regions, zones, so what I'm saying, religious diversity and what have you. This discussion can only happen under a democratic governance. And I am telling you that under this democratic governance that we've had from 1999 to date, the North has only had, by 2027, we have only had 10 out of 28 years. 18 years is the South. So nobody should hoodwink anybody that, the North is trying to stop him. But that is not even the purpose of what is happening now. The country, the democracy itself, we are pretending to be practicing democracy. As it is today, What we have is not democracy.
Yeah, and I'm interested in knowing all the assessments, because in that meeting with these northern political leaders, all of you sat down, you assessed insecurity, the economy, the polity, and everything. What was your general assessment? Has President Tinubu failed, or has he performed well as he claims that he has done, especially in the economy?
As far as the meeting of last week was concerned, yes, it is a meeting of the northern group. However, some prominent southern politicians were invited. You know, Peter Obi was there to give a goodwill message on behalf of the Southeast. Amechi was there. He gave a goodwill message on behalf of the South. And the Governor Aregbesola sent in, you know, a video. He wasn't present because he was doing his birthday at home.
We have consistently become superficial. And you journalists need to interrogate some of these issues beyond the North and South issue. I'm not dismissing it, but I'm saying that we have been trapped into this North and South to the extent that we have forgotten that we have a country to build, a country to live in, a country that we hope will survive and thrive. Therefore, I would always want us to shift from the more conventional discussion to interrogate the issues further. And in this respect, if you permit me, I have three things that I want to draw our attention to. One, don't forget that there are many northern political elite that have moved into the APC planning to support the presidency of Bola Tinubu. Some of them, in fact, came out to make a statement that there is no vacancy in Aso Rock. This statement, I was hoping that your team should invite those who make those statements to come and say exactly what they mean. Because as far as I know, there is nothing like this in our constitution. So that statement is unconstitutional, it is undemocratic, it is unintelligible. Therefore, these are the kind of things we allow to simply spread. And in any case, it is so, it's exhausted. It's a term that Chief Tony Anini actually used when he was promoting the third term of Obasanjo. I thought they would be more creative. After 20 years, they are repeating the same kind of thing over and over again. Now, let me come back to the three issues about it, and I hope you permit me to make this point before you go further. One, these people who move from one party to the other, including those who come to the coalition, there is something that we need to ask. Why is it that people easily move from the parties from which they have been elected to move to other parties and there are no consequences, even though the laws that we are supposed to operate, have made provision for these kind of consequences? One of the things that I think we need to take note of and to discuss is the fact that our parties are completely empty. They have no content, they have no conscience, they have no courage. They don't represent anything. Take the, let's start with the opposition party. Take the opposition party, the biggest one, the PDP. What does it represent? When you mention PDP, what comes to your mind? What idea? Is there any idea that you can actually relate to? Is there anything that PDP represents beyond the personal interest of politicians who use the platform to grab power and then to continue doing the same kind of thing that APC is doing? The same APC, if you speak of APC, what do you see? There is no idea that I can really relate to APC. There is no particular policy, there is no particular developmental issue which they are not like talking about the environment, they are not talking about development, they are not. Basically what comes to mind when you look at the face of APC is the face of a person who has been caught on secret cameras, taking dollars and putting in his pocket. So maybe those who are moving into APC might have been attracted by those dollars, or thinking that once they are there, their problems, will be solved. Personal problems, I must say. Therefore, we need to also look at the fact that the implication of all this is that we have left the politics of big ideas. We are basically stuck with the politics of big men. So we start talking of personalities moving here. What does it matter if one person moves from one party to the other if the parties are all empty?
Welcome back, my people. Now, no say the problem we say we get for inside this country, but plenty. May God save every one of us for this country because of the way insecurity. Now insecurity now be my own problem. No be gang up and many other things wey northern people dey talk be my own problem. Even as them they talk say this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu tenure abi administration is the most poorly tenure ever. I'm not supporting Tinubu for anything because Tinubu administration is not favoring anybody. Everyone knows. But what I'm trying to tell them is that all these northern people that keep coming against Tinubu, it's not as if me I dey support Tinubu, because even Tinubu self, if they say okay, me they carry people where we say they like Tinubu come. Me, una no go see me for there, because if they say who hates Tinubu pass, if I feel say na me, but wetin northern people they do, me we no like am. The way they want the carry all these things for their head as if okay now only them get this country. It's unacceptable. Abeg, this kind of thing where we say they want they do, it no make sense. If them notice that okay, this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu tenure is not favoring people, then make they just come out say okay, they go carry another person where we say he go fit do well, perform well from south east or south where go fit rule this country well. It's not this one where we say that they use tie, they gang up, they say the insecurity where we see dey for this Tinubu tenure is more than the one where we say okay, he dey for their own person tenure. Anytime where we see their person they rule, this one where we see them they talk na wrong. This thing where we say that they talk, them know they talk and where instead for them to find solution to all this insecurity where we see people they face for Nigeria, they know they talk, they know they bring any solution concerning the insecurity. Their own thing be say maybe not one person they rule Nigeria now, waiting them day after with that, and waiting me I get to tell all these people who say that they do all this thing every day and night. I'm gonna make una calm down so that God go fit bring better person where we see go fit control this country called Nigeria for us. Now waiting I get to tell una today with that. And for those of you where we see now today be una first time here, please make una like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.